Welcome to Cork in the North, another episode this week. Before we crack on with the episode, we need to talk to you about where we are. We're in the Atlantic Ocean. We're steering towards an iceberg. And the Die-In pub have melted that iceberg. They are the sponsor of Cork in the North podcast. They have saved us from extinction. Both of us, all of us.
We're not. We're in Unit 14. It's a studio here.
Huh?
We're in the podcast studio.
Fred, just go with it.
Okay, yeah. It's like, what's going on here?
This is me doing an advert for a local bar restaurant.
Oh, brilliant.
But
brilliant.
I do it in a welcome. All right. We will all get on the wood.
Oh!
Right?
Yeah.
Kate Winslet will not push us off the wood and the sea, because the Die-In pub, who we love and they love us, we are massive fans of them. Remember, Wednesday to Saturday, if you use the code CORK25, you get 25% off your food. Not your drink, just your food. Right? So if you want to go down there for a bit of food, loads of comedy on there as well. So please do check out all the comedy listings as well. If you want to go down and watch the European Championships, go down to the Die-In pub. If you want to go and take him out, take him out. If you want to take her out. She deserves it. Right? Go down for a meal. Right? If you want to go...
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I just to get right, you get 25% off the price of food if you say Cork 25. It's not like if you say Cork 25 and lad comes up and takes some of your chips off the table.
No, you get 100.
Like, oh, thank God!
You get 100% of the food.
Yeah, you get.
But 25% off the price.
The price of the food.
The price of the food goes
itself.
down, not the food goes down.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what the Die-In does, and that's how good they are.
Yeah,
they'll give you the full portion, and they'll take 25% off. So if something's a tenner, you're getting it for $7.50. I went to school.
Yeah.
I know the numbers, right? So the Die-In pub, the code is below, all the links are below. Go there to watch comedy, go there to use the toilets, plenty of parking, plenty of drinks behind the bar, watch the football, come to the live shows. They're big supporters of us. I've been down there, highly recommend the bacon. Really nice.
If you buy a meal for €1 million, you get it for 750,000.
There you go. And who's losing there?
No one.
Who's spending a fucking €1 million? You can't even spend euro in the Die-In. It's the North.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
If you went into the Die-In and spent €1 million, they wouldn't accept it.
You'd be there with the calculator trying to do to multiply that by 1.17.
Yeah.
Take
in the Brexit costs and everything. Joining me on the sofa is a good friend of mine, one of the funniest men in Ireland. I had him up recently at the Devonish for Andrew Ryan and Friends, and the amount of people that messaged me after the show saying, oh my God, who was that guy? And I said, his name was Ger Staunton. No, his name is Fred Cooke, and he's up here in the North. Again, he's always up here. He comes up here quite a lot, and we got him into the podcast because he's coming back doing a solo show later in the year, and highly recommend you go and see this man at the Limelight. He is absolutely brilliant. He's a good friend of mine. We're not close enough for me to have been invited to his wedding, but we have repaired that relationship.
That well back then.
We have repaired the relationship.
Yeah.
We have repaired the relationship.
I have a line I use. I'd say, in the comedy circuit, Andrew, you're my best friend. Outside of it now, I wouldn't have that much time for you.
Like if I wasn't gigging with you, I'd pass you in the street and I'd just ignore you.
I mean, there's a lot of heat with this podcast, so it's good to come in and get on with you.
Well, it's good to see you, Fred, and thanks for coming up, because I know you're up here doing some shows and stuff like that. How are you keeping?
Oh, fantastic. Do you know, for a lad who lives in Kerry, I'm gigging a lot in Belfast at the moment, isn't it?
Why don't you just move up here?
Yeah, I will.
I'm telling you, Fred, if you actually moved up here, you're closer to Dublin. Yeah. Come up here. Houses are 30% cheaper than down south.
Yeah.
You'll be gigging nearly every night of the week.
Yeah.
You're an hour and 2 hours from Dublin.
Yeah.
You can get down to Meath in 2 hours. And I honestly, you have an incredibly much better quality of life if you don't leave your house.
Yeah. I'd be a bit worried for my son now because he's 4 and he's developing a Kerry accent. He sounds like one of the Healy Rays.
Oh, does he?
He brought that up north.
Yeah, he'll be in the UDA by next week.
What part of Belfast am I in now, mate?
But I had you up with the Devonish. If you enjoyed, we did the Devonish, Andrew and Friends.
Fantastic,
I'm sure
night.
a lot of you came to see that. It was a good night, wasn't it?
It's the first time I've ever been to the gym. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And just before we went on, there's all these beautiful, stunning Belfast women come down the stairs from a spinning class in the gym. So I didn't even want to go on stage.
You're just sitting there before we go. I never got on stage before with an erection. Oh, it was a great night, wasn't it?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Great
fantastic
gig. You had a belter, man.
I understand. It was amazing. Do you know what? technically 4 people in the back stood up, so it was a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And if only we were sitting up the front, they would have seen that. Everyone else would have seen it.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, it was fantastic fun. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, no worries.
Great.
Don't worry, didn't get invited to the wedding. But the thing is,
Don't worry, I might be getting married again with the way things are going.
well, you've 2 kids now, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, like that's just you're in fucking hell.
I know. Yeah.
You're in hell. Are you in hell?
Oh well, listen. No,
Living in Kerry,
no.
gigging all over the island, and
Yeah.
you've 2 kids and a wife. That
Yeah.
must be very difficult. That's difficult if you have a 9 to 5 job and you work 2 miles from the house. Never mind doing the job that you do.
Well, listen. I'd rather have, if this is hell now, which it isn't, but if it was, I'd rather have now than have to go back and do the leaving cert.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that is hell. Like, I won't be having nightmares in 20 years' time about living in Kerry or having kids. So I love it. It's great crack. I actually love it now. And they're coming. I sometimes wish, you always want to keep, like, my youngest is 9 months now, and you just want to keep him like this. Do you know,
Really?
you go away for a week and you see a completely different boy. Oh, it's amazing. Like, I'll go
you
back
swapping
now.
them or something?
I've been away for 4 days and I'll come back now in 5 days. He'll be there smoking. Picking me up in the airport. Jesus, you missed it.
He'd be there.
Where have you been?
Where just coming back from withdrawing his pension. And he'd be like, who's that man there? Because who was the other fella that was with us last week while Daddy was away? Some fella locked under the cupboard, and your wife is giving him a biscuit once a day, like, you know. Obviously, you thanked me when I got engaged. What do I have to look forward to?
You have to look the rest of your life.
Well, not really.
Be careful with your wedding speech. I know personally, me and Julie and I, when we got married, and it was the greatest day of my life, and it was just COVID was, not that COVID was coming to an end, but lockdown was. So the gates are open and people are out for the first time in
So people
years.
were released.
So do you know what? It was more of Julie will admit to this. It was more of a celebration of being out in friendship than us getting married. Julie and I, we'd already been, we'd already been married anyway. Do you know, like living together and we had our son Ted. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were a very happy, content unit. We just had to write it down on paper. Do you know, so we're happy.
And spend the money.
Exactly, yeah. So, which I haven't seen back, but anyway, that's
that's 700 rides. Like,
she gave out to me.
When you say be careful about your wedding speech, what do you mean?
Well, Julie gave out to me 3 days ago.
3 days ago?
Yeah.
Well, you got married 2 years ago.
I got married 2 years ago, and she says to me, she goes, you didn't even mention me in your wedding speech.
Did you not?
I did. I said, and my wife, Julie. Anyway, here's some jokes. And no, but what I did, because there was so many friends, I acknowledged Julie. She's looking stunning. She had a beautiful wedding dress with swan feathers on. Right. It was gorgeous. And her the bridesmaids as well were looking beautiful, and it was great. So I did all that. But then I realised I'm with loads of friends here that I haven't seen, some of them in 10 years. From my hometown, mates from Leitrim I'd know, the table behind me was like a load of comedians. So I kind of feel like, you have to kind of step it up a bit.
Yeah.
And so I just did a load of jokes. And so
you gigged?
I did a gig, yeah. And it's the biggest gig I've ever done now.
And tell me, how did it go down?
It went down nice, yeah. It went down
Weddings
well,
are different, though. I think the wedding atmosphere for comedy... I've been asked to do a few weddings myself. I imagine you've been asked to perform at weddings and stuff.
I did 2 in my life. The first one was a disaster, and the second one went really well. But I was too nervous.
But did the one that was a disaster not put you off the second one?
Yeah, it should have. And because that's one thing I've learned in comedy, is that it's all about an experience and learning something, but you only need to learn it once.
Right.
To never do it again. But I was the idiot, and I did do it again because I had more stage time then. I had more.
What happened at the first one?
So no one knew who I was, right? So I just walked on stage and started telling jokes after the band played like Living on a Prayer, and people were like, "Is this lad broke into the hotel?"
No introduction.
And my jokes were like, I didn't even do the homework, to acknowledge the couple or acknowledge their town or anything like that. You know what I mean? I was like, I was just doing my own kind of jokes, and people were, who is this guy? And like, kid, and there was 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds and 10-year-olds, so I had to watch my content as well. And I'll never forget it. I had to do 50 minutes. I came
50?
15. I did 10, maybe 10 to 11. And this is 15 years ago now. And I came off stage, and I remember because there was a solicitor who was the father-in-law who had it, and he gave me money, right? He gave me €1,000 in cash, and I put it into my jacket, and I walked outside the hotel, and it just went. What have I done? I'll never do that again. I just felt like the crying game. Oh God, what have I done? And the money in my jacket, and
you feel like you've stolen something.
Sorry,
you feel like you've stolen something.
I did feel like that. I felt like if I could take it back, I would. But and then my sister lived in Oranmore at the time in Galway. The wedding was in Galway, and I just got a taxi to Oranmore, and I sat in the pub beside her, and it was a Friday night. It was packed. It was good crack. You know what I mean? But I couldn't bring my spirits up. Everyone, I remember there was a pub in Oranmore, and they're all going, "Come on, Eileen! Oh, come on, Eileen!" And I'm sitting there with €1,000 in my pocket, going, "I'm so depressed. I'm so depressed." I couldn't ignite my spirit. You know?
Fucking hell! And the second one you did then was much better.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I just got it right. I did my homework this time. And I went on. If you want to do a wedding, have you ever done one, Andrew?
I've been asked to do about 3, and I've turned all of them down. But I was at a wedding where there was a comedian on.
Yeah.
A good few years ago. I think it was pre-pandemic.
You need to go on after the speech, before the main speeches even.
Yeah, and the
after
comic,
the dinner.
The comic bombed.
Yeah, of
course. And I felt for the comic. And it was, many years ago. And everyone was looking at me like it was my fault. Because they all knew I was a comedian. They're like, "Andrew, what's that?" I goes, "What the fuck are you looking at me for?"
Did you book him?
No, it had nothing to do with me. And I was going you could have you could have Liam Gallagher sitting at the table, and then the singer of the band, the wedding band, isn't a great singer, and everyone's looking at Liam Gallagher going, "What the fuck's that, Liam?" As if Liam's responsible for every singer in the world. It's nothing to do with me.
But you know why it doesn't work? Do you know why it doesn't work? Because do you know when you're on stage and you do stand up, you need to own the stage for that. Even if you're doing 5 minutes, you need to own that stage for 5 minutes and make it about you and the audience looking at you. But in a wedding, it'll never be about you.
No.
It's always, and not only is it about you.
It's the wedding couple who, in fairness, selfish.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you book a comedian for your wedding, you don't clear the stage or get out of your bride and groom seat,
course,
you're selfish.
Yeah,
you're selfish on your wedding day.
Yeah. But if you take a risk and you do a bit of homework on the couple and you go in that way, well then it works. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even at that, it's a risk. And
they paid you cash then as well?
No, I went through my agent. Same agent.
Oh, same agent.
Yeah.
Us. Yeah.
Do you know that we've got the same agent as Cillian Murphy? Do you know that? Can you? That's the truth. Yeah. Cillian Murphy's with our agent.
Are you serious?
I swear,
I did not know that.
Could you imagine the pressure our agent is under? 3 legends.
2 Cork legends.
Oh, you're right, yeah. 2 Cork legends.
Oh, Chris Kent is there as well.
Oh, yeah.
3 Cork legends. Can you imagine that?
Yeah,
I have the same agent as Cillian Murphy. Do you know what?
We're going to win an Oscar now if we just do our player cards right.
Do you know what? I've never even checked our agent's website to see who else is on the books.
He's on the acting side of it.
Well, I'm not on the acting side. I'm on the voiceover side and the comedy side. There's no way I do the acting side.
Well, you can. I'm sure. Have you ever tried to act?
I was in one TV ad. I did McCoy's Crisps in England.
What, did you have to put on an accent?
No, I was just myself, but I was in the whole ad on ITV. I was on for 2 years. I also did. I was the voiceover there from 2021 to 2023 for On Post.
Yeah,
that's gone. They haven't renewed the contract. Thank you very much. The kids won't be washed.
They forgot to send it to you in the post. The one company
that forgot to send the payment in the post was On Post. I often feel like there's going to be a scandal with On Post, like the Royal Mail in a few years, and I'm going to be interviewed at the Oireachtas committee.
Little did I know. You'd think every time I'm in the car, I recognise your voice. And I know that, and then you told me, of course. We were walking around Belfast, and I went, "Oh, of course it is, Dan."
Yeah.
And then ever since, any time I was driving to gigs, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd hear your voice come on the radio with the On Post ad, and you'd think you'd be happy, and I'm like, "You're some bastard, demanding money." It's the Irish way.
It's the most Irish thing ever, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Fred, you have probably, I think, the coolest job in comedy. You are the MC of the Tommy Tiernan Show.
Yeah.
Tommy Tiernan Show. For those
Imagine it was like stacking shelves. So.
You plug the microphone in for the comedians, and you say, "Can I do a bit?" No, tomorrow night. Do a bit tomorrow night.
I give them the light to tell them when their gigs are up. They have 2 minutes left.
Yeah. Do you know that Adam Bloom joke had a great joke? He goes, "My wife came up to me. She goes, can we talk?
Yeah.
You're always talking about comedy," and she went, "And we need to have a chat because I'm sick of you always talking about comedy. And he went, okay, just give me like a 10 and I know when to wrap up this conversation. Right.
Do you know the other one about, do you know the way like comedians are always talking about comedy and how they're getting on, they're obsessed with themselves.
Yeah.
This whole joke. And there was this, so there was a father and a son. There was a father leaving the dad to a gig. Stop me now if you heard this joke.
No.
And on the motorway, they were running a bit late, and the dad crashed into a truck. Horrific car crash, right? The two of them were swung out of the car, right? Each side of the motorway. And first response came along, and it went up to the dad. Have you got a pulse? They'd lost him. Just gone, whatever way it was. Then they went to the comedian, the other side of the motorway. We've got a pulse here. We've got something. Are you okay? And he goes, oh, yeah. I'm doing a comedy festival next week and I'm gigging and I'm doing loads of gigs now next month as well. And I can't wait. It's going really well for me actually at the moment.
Your dad's dead. He goes, well, I got a bit of material out of that, I suppose. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're the MC of the Tommy Tiernan Show. For those of you who, I'm sure a lot of people know the Tommy Tiernan Show on RT. It's one of the probably the most successful show probably that RT produced in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And for people in the north as well, it's on the RT player. Go and check it. It's about 8 or 9 seasons up. What it is Tommy Tiernan interviews 3 guests a night. He doesn't know who the guests are until Fred opens an envelope and says, well, Tommy, your next guest is blah, whoever it is. Must be a cool job.
Amazing. And funny way you talk about on the RT player, there was Wimbledon when the BBC are showing, you know, tennis players getting ready in the outside tennis courts. I think it might have been Roger Federer or Djokovic. One of the guys, right? But he was looking at the Roy Keane interview, the Tommy Tiernan Roy Keane interview.
Serious?
On his iPad, and he was using the RT player. Do you know what I mean? Like, to get it. And the producer of the Tommy Show, she couldn't believe it for 2 reasons. She was like, oh wow, just Federer looking at our interview, and wow, I can't believe the RT player works. I can't believe it
works in the UK.
In the UK, yeah.
He's probably on a VPN, isn't he? That's what he's on. He's on a VPN, isn't he? Like,
yeah,
he's cheating bastards.
Of course,
like.
yeah.
The RT player. I remember once I was in RT doing an interview for a show I was doing, and I walked in and I was chatting to someone, and I went, "Who does the RT player?" And she actually just went, "All these people." And I just went, oh. And I just went, why is it always buffering? And this guy just looked at me, he was just like, fuck off. They probably are working under, they probably don't have a great, I don't know, but I actually said it out really loud by accident, and they were like,
the lad in charge of buffering, he just meant to stay looking at the wall like like that. Yeah.
Tell me, how did you land the gig?
Timing, just lucky.
Right, so Tommy came up with this idea, pitched it to RT to 2FM, didn't he?
I'm nearly sure about this. I was supporting Tommy Tiernan. I did it for 2 years, and it wasn't like a 2-year contract. It was just like, are you free for next 2 months? Are you free for next 2 months?
Yeah.
And this happened for 2 years, and we were gigging in Cookstown, up north.
Tyrone. Tyrone / Armagh, isn't it? And
I think he came up with the idea that day. He was in his bedroom, and he felt, wouldn't it be gas if he said to himself, "Wouldn't it be so funny if I did a show, but I didn't know who the guests were."
Yeah.
He just walked out, and he started laughing. He had to sit down in his bed. He was laughing so much to himself, and we all go for dinner around 5:00, and then he came down and he says, "You know what would be funny if there was a show about I didn't know who the guests were." And I think then he kind of pitched it. So I was just very lucky to be, do you know what I mean, to be around at that time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then he pitched it. It went to radio for a while.
We did. But
he turned around to you. How were you approached them? Did he say to you, and you can be in as well? For I mean, he didn't know the format then, really, did he? Or how did he? He didn't know there would be an MC or anything, like, you know. Did he?
Well, initially, I was doing a few sketches at the start, like, you know, using a few of my stage jokes on the TV. But then I realised that because it did replace the Republic of Telly. Like, the Republic of Telly left, and the Tommy Tiernan show came along. Republic of Telly
was a big show.
Yeah, exactly, and. So I guess in a way RT were kind of looking at it being a bit like sketch comedy, a bit zany, a bit mental, and I guess Tommy he was always saying that's too busy. We want to kind of concentrate on the conversation. Do you know, simple and powerful is what Tommy was going for. So the second season they got it right. Do you know what I mean? Like, so and like they got it right anyway. Like, you know, but it was. There's so many people working on the show at the first season and even the second season, but they kept changing their minds what they wanted it to be, And then so every week I'd come back, and one person would have they wouldn't be in the studio anymore. Oh yeah, he's decided not to use him. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, grand. And then next week, oh yeah, I decided to get rid of that sketch group. It was like Squid Games. I'm like, it's next year.
That was just you and Tommy left over. Exactly. Like the Hunger Games.
I said to Tommy, it was just me and Tommy left. I said to him jokingly, I said, Tommy, like, they seem to be getting rid of someone here every week. And if someone has to go next, it's not going to be me. I said,
he laughed at that, did he?
Yeah. I said, I'll introduce the acts and they'll walk out to no one. That doesn't matter. I'm keeping this position if I have to.
But you must. Who have you met that you've gone? Whew, never thought I'd ever meet that person.
Steve Coogan, amazing. You know.
What was he like? So you met him before the interview, did you?
No, just after it.
And what was he like to you?
A gentleman. Didn't get that much time to meet him, and it was in COVID times as well. So he couldn't get over how Ireland were keeping to the rules, because he came straight from the UK. Like, I tried to give him a hug. No, I said I wasn't going. He went to hug me, and I said, I can't hug you. We're not allowed, because we had a COVID manager at that stage. And he was like, he's still doing all this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so Neil Hannon as well.
Oh, like, from Divine Comedy,
him. I just love Neil. Like, and I'm a proper fan. That when he was on the show, the guy who booked him is a big fan as well. And like, I know everything about the Divine Comedy, Neil Hannon. I got into them when I was 19, and like every 2 years they brought out an album. So there's some catalogue of work, you know, that I'd know all the songs.
Yeah.
And so normally, but he was on second, so we were watching the first guest on the telly. And it was me sitting beside Neil Hannon, just like you sitting here, and the guy who booked him. It was like both of us won a competition to hang out with him.
And did you turn out? Did you just treat him like a mate, or did you even? You didn't say like a big fan. You were like, "Hi Neil, how are you getting on?"
We broke the ice a bit. I remember he was like, we were talking about the Joker, the movie, and how intense it is compared to like the Batman movie from '88. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Do you know, and
normal stuff, kind of, really, yeah.
Because do you remember? This is what he joked about. Do you remember in the Batman movie in '88, the Michael Keaton one, and Prince is doing the music, Batman, and I said it wouldn't fit with the Joker. Do you know what I mean? It's such a serious psychological movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, about society and all that. You couldn't throw in the middle of it, Batman. It's just, I guess, there's a naivety in the '80s, and it suited that.
Yeah.
And he laughed about that, and then I was happy out. But it's after the laughter died out, I was like, and what was your favourite album you ever came up with?
Back to fan again, like.
Yeah. And why did you do this? And why did you do that for that song? And, you know, so that was
He must have got some royalty payment from Father Ted, like.
Yeah, and he did the music for the Wonka movie, the recent one. So that's which was recorded in Abbey Road. So that's the level that he's at, you know, like.
Brilliant.
And so honestly, I didn't get to meet Roy Keane. They were very secretive of him. It was the time when I used to like, there was an audience back then, and I let some friends come into the audience, and but I'm never allowed to bring them in backstage, and then onto the audience, because they'll find out who the guests are backstage, and then they'll bring that information onto the audience. They cover everything, so that secret isn't broken. You know, with Tommy or the audience don't know. So
it's a military operation.
Oh, it's unbelievable! It's unbelievable. Like I find out around 6:30.
Okay, so talk me through the day. How do you arrive? How does Tommy arrive? What way does it work? Do you come in with Tommy? Like, how do you...
No, we'll do a run through at it changes. So we'll do a run through at 4:00.
And the guests are just staff.
Yeah, cameraman and stage manager, and the guys upstairs, the producer, assistant producer.
They're getting all the cameras set up and the angles.
There's
and all
always
that.
something a bit different. If you've got 2 acts on, or you know. To get it, like, it's just because sometimes we can have different cameramen or different people upstairs, so we just need to be all on the same boat. So that's why we do the run through, and it's good crack, because I used to mention Christy Moore all the time, because you know you're the same person, so that we know. But then Tommy said to me, why don't you mention people who are dead, who've passed away, as guests for the run through, because it could never possibly be them. Do you know?
I see what you mean.
And I'd be off, like, I'd be like, I'd have a theme. I'd be like, our first guest is Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, these painters.
Here comes Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah. There was one, so funny. I said, Tommy, our next guest is Meatloaf. And then the stage manager walked out and sat down. Tommy went, So meat. It's such a laugh, like, you know.
So what happens then? Tommy gets pulled away. How does it work?
So he goes, he's his own makeup. So he doesn't go to makeup. He's his own makeup. He's got his own stylist clothes. So that's all under him. So they'll come in and he'll do his makeup there.
So he goes to a room at what, 5 o'clock, 5:30?
Yeah, the dinner's brought in.
And he's locked in there.
Yeah, he is, more or less. Yeah, he's chained up. And
He's chucking biscuits in the door and I'm like, feeding him like a dog.
Oh, he's in bad form today. But so he's in there happy out, and he'll do his breathing exercises, his meditation. If Liverpool are on the TV, he'll try and get the station on and stuff like that. And I don't want to talk to him then, because I might find out come 6:30 who the guests are myself. You know, I'll ask, just because if there's a name...
Can't name pronounce or something.
We had two of the weather girls from the Irish station TG Cahir on.
Yeah.
Sharony Fluckabluck August Granny Hulu Hulu. Completely messed it up. Completely. Look, it was a pre-record, you know, because the lady that was their agent was like, you know, she got a bit annoyed. And I said, listen, we'll fix it. We'll fix it now in post. You know, and so sometimes some stuff like that. You know, I remember once Sir AP McCoy was on.
Right.
I know very little about horse riding and stuff like that. And for some reason, the lady who gave you do you know who writes it out?
Yeah.
Sir AP McCoy. She didn't put a dot. Did I tell you this before?
No.
She didn't. She didn't put a dot in between the A and the P for Sir AP McCoy.
What did you say?
And like, this is like the first episode. I have so little to do as it is. Just what Tommy says. I go, how do you have so little to do and you still fuck it up?
What did you say?
There's no dot in between the A and the P. So well, Tommy. And I told him with such gusto. Our first guest of the show is Sir Up McCoy. You know,
but you fix it in post then. You go back and fix it.
Yeah.
After the interview. It's McCoy.
So there's a few of those. And in lockdown I had a curtain. You used to have to pull the rope.
Yeah, I saw the red curtain. Was it red?
The red curtain.
Yeah.
I could never. Maybe I panicked a bit because back then in COVID we had we'd 1.5 million people watching it in the second lockdown, in the height of lockdown. So
20% of the population.
Every time the camera was on me, I knew there was 1.5 million people. So where's our next guest? And I'd have to walk over to the curtain. I'd be like, it's just the one that goes open. The two Johnnies. And it's such a simple thing to do, you know what I mean? And then the curtain would break. You wouldn't see that. They'd walk out anyway. And you could hear them behind the curtain as well sometimes. Sometimes you can, and you have to, so I'll start singing. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing. You try to shut them up. So you wouldn't find out, but the stage manager would be talking. When the guest comes into the studio before they walk out, they have to keep quiet. Because even that could give away who it is.
Yeah.
You know, especially with some, you know, celebrity characters, kind of a loud voice. Do you know, if you had a Brian Dowling, you'd make sure he doesn't say anything until the name.
Put a tape over his mouth,
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So because of that, just before it starts, I try to sing over the silence so Tommy can't hear the guess. So it just happens every week. We do it okay, the stage manager will be like, okay, 5 minutes to shoot. And I'm like, all the lies that you told me. Or I'll sing A Woman's Heart. My heart is low, my heart is so low. And it goes from laughing to, 3 seconds. And here's our first guest.
That's so how was the Roy Keane episode manoeuvred? How was that done? Because you said you never really got to meet him. So how...
he was in and out. He was gone.
So when did you find out it was him?
I found out around 6:30.
Right. So he drives up himself.
Yeah, he drove up with his two best mates from Cork.
Right.
And so the two best mates were in the green room, and he was in a room down the end zone.
And you never even saw him?
No, I didn't want to disturb him. I just had the feeling that his mood. I often felt, could he be slightly cantankerous, or what I mean?
What was his friend saying? Was he saying, "Oh, he's in bad form"? Or
no, they were sound they stayed on a bit, and he just. I only seen Roy when I introduced him and he walked out. And,
really?
Yeah, and then when the interview was done, he was gone.
The three of them all left.
The two lads stayed on for the free drink.
But did Roy go to a hotel?
Sorry?
He probably went to a hotel, did he?
Don't know where he went. The two guys actually came to a gig of mine in city limits in Cork, you know well.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 months later. And I was hoping Roy would come as well, but the World Cup had started, so he was going off.
Do you know Roy went to see Chris Kent in Frog and Bucket in Manchester?
Yeah, unbelievable. And Roy and Chris didn't know he was there.
And then he found out then he was there, and he went after him.
Yeah.
To say hello to him, and Roy, I think Roy got spotted and Chris was getting stopped, and he kind of just nodded and said, "Great show, Roy," something like that. "Great show, gotta go." But he kind of exchanged a sentence, but it was literally a sentence. Like Roy, I think bolted. He was getting spotted or something like that.
I did that as well. I'd be the kind of stupid guy now that I'd be running Troy Keane and I'd slip and I'd give him a headbutt by accident. And I'd end up in court or something like that.
Like just like the other fella did a couple of weeks ago. So that's kind of insane. That's a really big job, like, you know.
It's amazing, and
you must get everyone in the country knows who you are.
Everywhere,
now.
Yeah.
What do people? Nice. What would they say to you about that? Because you're a big part of the show, but you're not. With respect, everyone loves the Fred bit, but the show is the Tommy Tiernan show.
That's how it works. It's the Tommy Tiernan show. Yeah, no, it is. It's the Tommy Tiernan show. So the funny thing about it is that when people see me out, like you come in a pub in the west of Ireland, 4 people in the pub, 3 old lads at the bar, and I'll walk in and they look at me. They don't know my name. They don't know my second name. You know what I mean? Like, because Tommy only says Fred, and so I'll walk into a pub, and these 3 lads look at me and go, "Tommy Tiernan," and then they'll say something like, "Is Tommy Tiernan not with you? Is he not with you?"
Oh yeah, like
where's Tommy today? Yeah. You're not hanging out with him. So, but that's brilliant because I love Tommy Tiernan. I've always been like yourself. You know what I mean? Like big fan. Most of us wouldn't be doing stand up if it wasn't for Tommy Tiernan.
But would you be friendly? Are you friends with him?
Oh yeah.
Like will he ring you, text you?
I can ring him whenever I want. Do you know what I did, which was really stupid? One time. Last summer, I went on a stag to Porto.
Oh, I think just by saying that to me,
you know what I've done?
I think I know one of your friends probably wanted you to ring him for him or something, was it?
Yeah.
I fucking just spotted it straight away.
All these questions are coming, about the Tommy Tiernan show and how does he find out and all this. Now, I kind of, because this is a friend of mine from Kells and his older brothers who same age as Tommy, who would have, his mates would have went to school in Navan and stuff, so they would have known him, like famous Meath footballers. So we're all having pints, and I have a few pints in me myself, and I said, "Do you know what I'll do? I'll ring him up for you. I'll ring him up." And we're all so drunk, you know what I mean? It's 4 o'clock in the day. I'm pretending to be the big boy, How you, loudspeaker, how you, Tommy? How are you, Fred? How are you? You okay? Oh, yeah, I'm good, all right. I've a few lads that want to say hello to you. Oh. And he's like, all right, Fred. I'll put you on to the first fella, as if, Tommy will recognise him through his voice, you know what I mean? And I think it was Jody Devine, who does know, he's good mates with. And thankfully, Tommy did do a few jokes. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, was he good? He was warm with it, though.
He was sound. He knew them, you know what I mean? Like, and not only were they, he was making fun of the Meath football team and that time of the...
What time of night was this?
This 4 o'clock in the day. So I think Porto was an hour ahead.
So you got him in good form.
3 o'clock in the day, yeah. So, but he sounded like that. Do you know what I mean as well? I wouldn't want to take the piss. I regretted it and I apologised like the next day for doing it.
What did he say?
It's fine. No problem.
Yeah, I met him at the Ivy Gardens and I chatted to him, and I'd say I chatted to him for about 3 minutes, and I regret the 3 minutes.
Why? What did you say?
I got so nervous.
Oh, yeah.
And I said it to John Cleary, who then was doing support for him. I said, John, like, he was asking me, he said to me, you're living up in Belfast, are you? You know, like that kind of inquisitive tone, right?
Yeah, it's so relaxed, isn't it?
And I just started talking. I'm grand up there, like it's grand, like I'm over in the east side there with all the unionists, like they're mad, like what's going to crack, like, I was having a laugh with him, like, and he was like, yeah. And then but because the silence made me talk, and I just made me sound like I just sounded like a fucking Egypt, like.
But that's his gift. That's how the show works so well.
Yeah. But Cleary said the same thing as well. He said, "Oh, Andrew said some of the shit I've said to him, like," but he's used to it.
Me too. The second gig I did with him was in Belfast, actually, in the Millennium Forum. So is it the Millennium Forum? And,
no, the Waterfront.
The Waterfront.
Derry is the Millennium Forum.
Oh yeah. So the Waterfront, and it holds 5,000 or something like that.
3,000.
3,000.
3,000.
So
something like that. 3,000. Something like that.
3,000. So 6,000. Right? And,
I think it's 2,500. Let's split the difference. I've never performed there, so I don't know.
You should be an accountant, Andrew. You know real skills. And but same thing. I remember that car journey, and I think this is Tommy Tiernan. You know what I mean?
So he picked you up.
He picked me up in Dublin, and because we did Vicar Street the night beforehand, And that was like, are you free? And then you're free next 2 nights, Vicar Street. And I felt like, you know, I was getting the golden ticket, the Willy Wonka golden ticket. This is amazing. Like, if I didn't get paid 1 cent, it didn't matter. Like, this is
So you're getting an experience. You're getting a lifetime experience with one of the best comedians in the world.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so we just sat there, and it took maybe a few car journeys for me to completely kind of, you know, relax into it a bit, you know. So
yeah.
But even I remember the drive back, having a bit of a laugh, and then you know, it was,
you're in then. He's
bit,
comfortable.
yeah,
The trust. You have to build up the trust.
Of course, yeah.
Like
yeah.
Shane Todd was telling me today that he was with Theo Von for 4 nights.
Yeah.
He opened for him 2 nights in Belfast, 1 night in Dublin, 1 night in Cork. And I said to him, well, how did you get on? What's he like? You know, like, cause, you know, I'm a nosy fucker, but I also, and he turned around and he said, great, like, just, he's a comic. Like, and Shane's like, you just gotta know, this is what I find really interesting about this industry. You gotta learn how to be around people.
Yeah.
And there's people in comedy that don't know how to be around other people who may be sort of a lot well known.
Of course, yeah.
And if you don't learn how to be around those people, that will actually hurt you.
Yeah.
Because like I've been around, especially in England, I remember I got sacked from 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown doing the warm up, right? Because I fell out with Jimmy Carr, and he sacked me basically, like, because he was a dick. I'm not afraid to say it, like, but I was really friendly with John Richardson, Russell Howard, chatting away to them, like having great crack, like with them, you know, in the green room. Danny Dyer was there. Like Danny Dyer was everything I wanted him to be and more. Yeah. He was just exactly what I thought he was going to be, and I loved it.
A good crack lad.
Good crack. All right, how you doing? You right?
Yeah,
I'm not so bad. Oh, this fucking, how long's this gonna fucking take? You know, like just the attitude. I love this. Long story short, I ended up getting kicked off show, but I felt really comfortable on it. You know, Sarah Milliken was there. I know Sarah well. Worked with her husband Gary numerous times. So I was like, I know these people. Yes, they're on a scale way above me, but they knew me. They're like, oh, Andrew's an actual comic. He knows what he's doing. He's on the circuit. We know him from the clubs. You know, blah blah blah. But I've heard then stories of other people. I know somebody that got sacked from the Graham Norton show because he was just obsessed with the celebrities taking pictures, and they said, you need to get out of here because you don't know. They're coming, when they come to the back of the studio, they're getting a break from being a celebrity. Like, just let them be on let them walk up and down the corridor in their socks, like, you know, just leave them. And so you got to learn how to be around people. And I think I'm actually fairly okay, but I think with Tommy Tiernan, I did regret it.
But you're okay now, I'd say now. Really.
I was just a bit fucking. I was like, you know, like Dylan Moore, and talked to Dylan Moore. I was at Latitude Comedy Festival, and Dylan Moore was going on a tent, and I was standing there, and he just kind of came up, and he was kind of standing with other people, and I was kind of not in the conversation. But kind of in the conversation, but I didn't say anything, and I just turned around and I went, oh, have a really good gig, and he just went, oh, and I just went, well, I didn't take that as a defense. I thought he's in gig mode, like he's going on in 10 minutes, like we can all be a bit cantankerous. I went, that's I shouldn't have done it because he's in gig mode. Do you know that kind of thing? And I have seen comics, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, where some comics, their social behavior becomes a problem. Do you know what I mean? Because they can't seem to behave.
Oh yeah.
You know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's strange.
I often think with comedians, like so a lot of them have a whole family life outside of comedy. You know what I mean? And a lot of them are kind of stressed naturally, have massive anxiety. You know what I mean? So, but when you realise those moments, you can become quite good at working with people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I
remember Michael Redmond. Father Stone and Father Ted.
Yeah, living in Glasgow. He lives in Glasgow,
and I did that Sunday roast. You know, he was gig in the stand.
He used to always host Best of Irish on a Wednesday.
Yeah. And I was sitting backstage with him, and he was that quiet. He was very comfortable in silence.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was living. And I want to ring up my dad and put him on. You know what I mean? And Michael's there like this, and so I said, I'm going to say something anyway. And then I said, so what part of Galway are you from? And he says, I'm from Dublin. But you know what? We both laughed. And that's the only conversation we had. That was from Dublin. I always thought he was from Galway, maybe because of Father Ted, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he looks a bit wet, you know, from the Wild West.
Yeah. God, it's crazy. I remember once I used to gig a lot with John Bishop just as he was breaking. And I had the same agent as him, and I rang him one day. I rang him, and he didn't answer, but he rang. But so I texted him, and he rang me straight back. He rang me 20 minutes back, like, Andrew, and I was like, John, how are you? How are you doing, mate? And I was, and I was like, good. Listen, can I ask you for some advice? Of course. So like, what about this and what about that and what about this and what about that? And he was like, Andrew, all you got to focus on is just doing gigs. Yeah. Don't be thinking about that. Just get good. Yeah. All that falls into place. Yeah, you know what I mean. Don't be worrying about, just get match fit. Yeah, just do your gig, and don't be worrying about everything around that. No, that all stuff goes away. Yeah, and he was so right.
Has it happened yet? Or?
No, but you know what I mean. Like he was just so dead easy to have rang. Of
course, yeah.
And like I remember living with Joe Lysis.
And that's the perfect advice I'd say, Andrew. You need it because you're like very talented and very. You're on the cusp of making a good. Getting a good career out of stand-up. Yeah. But you need some stable advice like that. Some honest, stable
just
advice.
Ignore the shit, like.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I say that to so many comedians now. Like, yeah. It's hard.
Someone said to me, I want to do this with clips. I said, how long are you going? I'm like, a year and a half. I'm like, just gig for 5 years and shut up. Yeah. Just gig for 5 years and shut up. Yeah. Just gig for 5 years. Anyway, I don't want to overly hammer the comedy talk. Now, Fred, you messaged me recently to congratulate me about getting engaged. I want to ask you some advice. You're married 4 years, 3 years? 3 years.
Oh God, I'm in the danger zone here. I'm 3 years.
You're 3 years. Right. What advice would you give to me, Fred?
2020.
You're married with 2 kids. Yeah. You're living in West Kerry. Yeah. In the middle of nowhere.
No, Dingle. We're living in the town.
Still in the middle of nowhere. It's a shithole, mate. Fungi fucked off even. Even Fungi fucked off, mate. Fungi finally went, I'm out of here. The recession hit. Fungi was like, I'm off.
I have a very kind of sad theory about Fungi, actually.
Well, yeah, so he's gone.
He's gone, yeah. But no one knows, like, he probably did die, like. But I think, because Fungi was a natural performer, like, as a bottleneck dolphin, it's not normal for those kind of dolphins to want to be isolated, and still perform.
Right.
So he was a natural kind of, he was the kind of the tears of a clown. He loved to perform, but he also loved to be on his own. Yeah. And he loved to.
He was a complex character.
He was a complex dolphin. Yeah.
Very complex dolphin.
His smile was that one side, but if you looked the other side,
he was crying. Yeah, trauma, issues with his childhood.
Exactly. Yeah. and but what I think happened with Fungi, that's quite sad, is that he when lockdown happened, and the boat stopped and the tourists stopped to see Fungi, he didn't know about lockdown. He was just down in the bay, under the water, waiting to perform, and the boats never came out.
And he thought he wasn't needed.
Showbiz. COVID. Like, I'm done. He didn't know about COVID. So he was like, I'm just not needed anymore.
Someone should have told him.
Yeah.
Somebody should have went out and went, listen, Fungi, not sure if you're aware, don't know if you have it down there, but there's a sniffle going around, and you need an injection.
I'd say he was like, if he did know about COVID and he couldn't perform, he was like, God, if only there was a place in the world where we could perform. I'll go to the Thames. Like, I
wonder where he is. You think he's dead? How long do dolphins live?
I think so.
Do they live long lives, dolphins?
Fungi was exceptionally long. Fungi came to Dingle around 87, if not 87. Do you know when he went missing around 3 years ago? So that's, I think, 30 years max you'll get out of it. Do you think he's just died of old age, or he fucked off because of the pandemic? It's either past or that sad idea that he decided that he felt he wasn't needed anymore. And
has he been on prime time or question time, or where's Fungi, and it's like a load of politicians sitting there like trying to make statements like, we will invest money into to locating Fungi. I'm surprised any of the Healy Rays haven't got a conspiracy about it.
Oh, not
those fuckers in Dublin getting rid of our dolphins or something like.
Do you know my son's starting to sound like Danny Healy Ray?
I know, yeah.
As a Meath man.
Now, is that the mad brother?
Yeah, the one like me with the beard.
The one that thinks that the global warming doesn't exist.
Oh yeah.
And he's fucking 9/11? Was he one of them that does the 9/11 conspiracies?
Don't know about that.
No, maybe. Okay, I don't want to say that. Maybe I'm wrong there. I do apologise.
Every morning I wake up and I see my son going, "You're a long way from home, Dad." You're a long way.
Yeah.
Go back to the fairies of Mead and say I sent you.
I think that's because your wife sent him in to say that to you. What advice would you give someone who's getting married? Apart from the wedding speech.
Enjoy the day. Cause
No, not the mind the day. I'm talking about marriage in general. Sorry, marriage in general.
Compromise. It's complete compromise.
I have compromised. I'm getting married.
I know, but talk about what's very important. And Julie and I do talk about it.
My partner's called Julie as well, you know.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't make that mistake with the text then. Oh God, it's not Julie, thank God. And but I think, you know, if what's very important is boundaries in a relationship. To know, especially if you're going into marriage, and talk about it before you get married, is to go, you know, if I want time to myself, or I mightn't. You don't want me being involved in this kind of stuff, and I mightn't want you at certain times. I want time to myself. You know what I mean? And talk about those boundaries in a love and respectful sense.
So so basically, like for example, if you want, say, 2 hours yourself to work on some comedy, or maybe read, or scroll on your phone, or just catch up with the news, whatever. You know,
or not even that. Just to go, Julie, take time on this. Let's just take. I'm sorry for mentioning her actual name. No, I just as in any relationship.
Just say like, Julie, can we just take time out? Is it?
Just time out. Just that's it. Do you know what I mean? Talk about those moments. That there will be times in your marriage, like any marriage. You know what I mean? Like that. It's just you have to be so respectful through compromise and talking the whole time. What do you want, as opposed to what I want? What do you want as opposed to what I want? And constantly meeting halfway. And you'll do that till the day one of you sadly passes away. And the day you sadly pass away, don't worry, I'll take over all your gigs and this podcast.
Do you know what? I don't think I could do that.
You
compromise.
You have to.
No, I can. I compromise enough anyway.
Little things that mean so
we do. It's fine. It's a small thing to communicate. We said one thing there. We wanted to stop the phones in the bed.
Yeah.
Get into bed. We have a little check-in every night.
Yeah.
Well, how was your day? I could be busy, you could be out gigging, or she has a small business, so like she comes in, we have dinner, we chat. She said, I've got to go and do this, I've got to go and pick up that, I've got to go to the gym, and I'm like, right, you go do your thing and I'll see you later. At about 9-10 o'clock, I'm getting ready for bed, I'm up for radio, she's in, doing all her girly stuff or whatever, and then it's a bit like, right, 15-20 minutes, like, well, how was work, what happened at work, what are you doing this week, what are we going? Oh, we need to get a card for that person. It's their birthday. Sort of daily. And we said to each other, like, we're getting into bed now. One thing we do is, one of us will put our phone on, and we will watch one phone of reels and just laugh at reels. And next thing you know, you're 20 minutes. But like, I know people say, oh, you shouldn't have phones, but actually, we're talking about the reels and what's really funny. And to me, that's the way the world has gone now. So make it work for you rather than work against you.
Yeah,
and then my reels, my algorithm, then it's just women playing golf, and it's like, shit, we'll use your phone.
Yeah,
we'll use your phone. Why can't we use your phone? Oh no, I was looking at some women hitting golf balls. I'm just into their swing. I was only into their swing.
Only the swing shots.
Why are they in bikinis? Sure, that's not my fault of what they wear. I don't tell them what to wear when they're making the videos.
You're only at the drive range. And,
I'm very excited about it.
The one thing as well is to decide every day, because you'll be away at work sometimes, and she'll be away as well. So you have to go, listen, 6 o'clock, we ring tomorrow. That's our time, you know what I mean? Like, almost like an old early 90s, 8 o'clock, so I'll meet you at a phone box and I'll ring you then. You have to be that organised communication, because it'll pass. It'll pass. You'll be so busy. You have to go, this time is when I'm going to ring you. Yeah,
and tell me, and you don't have to answer this now if you don't want to, but...
No, I'm not allowed threesomes.
Do you, when you fall out, which is normal, what are you like as a husband who's fallen out? Are you a stubborn man? Are you someone that gets upset about falling out? Or are you like, no, I'm going to show her now for an hour, I'm going to be moody, I'm going to eat all the biscuits and she's going to be fucking pissed off? Like, what are you like as an arguer? Because I know some people who go fucking 0 to 100. Then there's some people who are actually like, I don't want to argue. I don't want to argue. Like, what are you like?
I don't think I go 0 to 100. Ironically, like, we've had arguments, and at the time, I was very much into meditation and giving yourself 10 minutes. But that probably brought more tension than because then she'd be in the hallway 2 minutes later. I'm in the toilet. That's it. Calming down. You know what I mean? It's so obvious to her. I'm trying to calm myself down, and the funny thing is, and I'm not adding this to your equation, it's always, as I know I said, compromise as well. When you've got kids, the arguments become completely different. It's all about what's the best thing for them. and stuff like that. It's not about you guys anymore. There's less of I'm annoyed because I this. It's like I'm annoyed because he, you know, these
crying
boys
all
are
the
all
time
that
or
kind
whatever.
of stuff. You know, so it's you know, so it's just this constant. You know, I often think if you can sit down for like once a week, maybe every fourth day, and sit down with your wife for an hour and a half, or your husband,
An hour and a
whoever it
half.
is,
It's a bit long.
just to talk about stuff, just to talk about, you know, almost like a minute, like a company. Oh, you want to do this?
Open up the
okay, we'll do
accounts.
this. Yeah. Hopefully the balance.
Right, yeah,
out.
you were late on Tuesday. 5 minutes.
Do you remember that in business studies in secondary school? You had to do your invoice. Was it not the invoice? You had to do this kind of thing.
Profit and loss ledger and
Profit
all
and loss,
that.
the ledger.
yeah.
And there was always a bit.
Fixed assets.
Oh, fixed, yeah. And I
Current
had to-
liabilities. The balance sheet.
It was so, but I just said, every time I did it, I said, I hope I don't live like this. Do you remember this bit at the very end? 100 euro for recreation. It's like, all right. No, a little bit less recreation and more potatoes.
Miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous, yeah.
Miscellaneous, yeah.
So, all that. So I'd never, you know, I'm not that organised. But I do think those chats, if you take them seriously, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you resolve a lot of stuff in the conversation and know where you're at for the next few days, you've saved yourself a lot of arguments at the cinema, you know, 2 weeks later, and you've saved yourself a lot of arguments that come unexpectedly.
Yeah,
Do you know
because
what I mean?
normally it's a straw that breaks the camel's back.
Covering
One
yourself.
small thing, and it's actually
course.
about seven other
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Fred, you're one of the funniest people I know. You're coming up to Belfast to do your show at the Limelight. Tell
20th
us.
of October.
20th of October.
Yeah.
In hold on a second. I'm going to check my diary here because would you believe it? I'm back that morning from my tour show in Bristol. You're Sunday the 20th of October.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
I'm going to be there.
Let me check. I'm nearly sure. I might be, hold on.
We'll just double check the actual date that Fred has come on to promote.
Double
As you
check
can
my,
see. But please do go and see Fred.
Sorry.
Go on.
It's the 25th of October. Friday the
25th of October.
Will you still be here?
I'm in Oma, do my tour.
Oh, there you go.
I'm away. I'm actually, would you believe it? I have a wedding on the 25th. I'm leaving the wedding at 5 o'clock
to do the
to
gig.
go to Oma. Finish the gig at 10 o'clock. 10:15.
Where's the wedding?
The wedding's in Carlingford. It's an
all right.
hour and 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit longer. Then I'm driving back to the wedding. Hopefully get back there by midnight.
Yeah.
And the bar's open till 2, so.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
But I leave when everyone's just having 1 pint, and then I'll arrive when everyone's had about 9 pints.
Yeah. Now, if you want to stay at the wedding, I can double up and do Oma as well.
So Friday the 25th of October at the Limelight, Fred Cooke is there. If you were at the Devonish, you saw him on with Ger Staunton. He absolutely smashed it. He is a great stand-up comedian, and he's doing wonderful stuff. Check him out online as well. What's your Instagram and your TikToks and all that?
Fredster Cooke.
Fredster
is my
Cooke. We'll put
Instagram.
the links
Yeah.
all below here, and also we'll be tagging him on the Instagram and stuff like that with this episode.
Kevin Bridges is my TikTok.
yeah. There was he comments that if you didn't like me tonight, my name was Peter Kay. You know, all those kind of guys that do all that kind of stuff, you know.
I just did that. All those kind of, all those kind of guys.
Do you know what? I was thinking to myself how I'm going to end the podcast, and I forgot to listen to the last bit that you said there. I was like, in my head, I was thinking ahead, you know. Fred Cooke, thanks for coming on Cork and all.
Oh, thanks for having me, Andrew. All the love.
All the love. Good stuff.
Can't wait
Thanks.
for the wedding. What?
No. Anyway, don't worry. If I get married here, you'll come. You'll be coming.
Oh, I will, all right.
I'll get the wrong Julie on the night. Everyone, thanks very much. Go and see Fred. Appreciate it. Don't forget to die in Cork 25 for 25% off your food. Thanks for supporting us.
The
Click on
price of
link.
food.
The 25% off the food. The price of the food. Not off the actual. Oh, we fucking done this. The die in Lisburn Road. Go there. Slán, Gurmy and Margaret.